The canoe rocks ever so slightly as the morning tide nudges it toward the shore, and the water laps quietly against the smooth wood. A lone fisherman, his hands steady, pulls a net heavy with tiny silvery fish from the calm, turquoise sea. The sun has just begun to rise, spilling soft gold across the water, glinting off the sand, and turning the leaves of the nearby mangrove trees into a gentle mosaic of green and light. Birds stir in the trees, their calls mingling with the faint whisper of wind through the palms, and somewhere nearby, the distant hum of a village waking begins to thread itself through the day. The smell of wet earth, salt, and smoke from a small morning fire drifts lazily across the air, and life here feels as if it has been unfolding in this same measured, peaceful rhythm for generations. Hey, tonight we are going to drift gently backward through time, far across the Indian Ocean to the island of Madagascar, to a time long before any European ships had touched its shores. We'll glimpse the quiet daily rhythms of life among the villages, the forests, the rivers, and the fields, where people lived in a harmony with nature that moved slowly, carefully, and with a sense of gentle patience. And as the story drifts forward, take a moment just for yourself. No rush, no pressure. If it feels right, you might tap the like button or subscribe, but only if it truly calls to you. I always love knowing where you're listening from, what hour it is in your city, so if you'd like, whisper it in the comments. For now, stay exactly where you are. Let the room grow soft and dim around you. Let the subtle sounds of your space weave themselves into the edges of your awareness. Take a slow, deep breath and exhale. Feel the weight of your body sink gently into your seat or bed. Let your mind drift with the story, like a feather floating on a quiet current. Every word, every pause, is here to carry you, softly, further into the tale. Just let go and let yourself be held by the story. The village begins to stretch awake as the first rays of sunlight filter through the tall grasses and soft palms. Smoke curls lazily from the thatched roofs, drifting in the early morning air. Women stir quietly, tending the small fires where roots and grains are cooked slowly, releasing gentle, earthy aromas. Children step barefoot across the soft, dewy ground, their laughter low and musical as they chase one another around the simple wooden homes, their feet brushing the sand, the leaves, and the small flowering shrubs dotting the edges of the village. Men walk toward the fields, carrying small baskets of seeds or bundles of tools made from wood and bone, each step deliberate and slow. The rice paddies glint in the light, shallow water reflecting the sky and clouds above, disturbed only by the occasional movement of a heron or the careful foot of a farmer planting seedlings. The rhythms here are steady, almost meditative, each motion a conversation between the people and the land that sustains them. Near the river, the elders sit beneath the shade of tall trees, weaving mats and baskets from reeds and bark. Their fingers move slowly and methodically, shaping patterns that are both functional and quietly beautiful. The gentle crackle of small fires blends with the low murmur of voices as they tell stories. Tales of ancestors who traveled across the island, of distant forests and hidden valleys, of rivers that sang and mountains that watched over the villages. Each story drifts like a soft cloud across the village, threading the past into the present without urgency or rush. Fishermen paddle their canoes further into the calm waters, nets dipping silently into the ocean. The water glows with the soft reflection of the morning sky, and the fish glide beneath, silver and quiet. The villagers move as one with this rhythm, each life connected to the slow dance of nature. Chickens wander between homes, goats graze on tender shoots, and the scent of flowering trees drifts over the village, mingling with the aroma of cooked roots and fresh water. By mid-morning, the sounds of the village are gentle but alive. Children gather by shaded areas to play quietly, weaving simple games from sticks, leaves, and stones, while the adults continue their work, tending gardens, repairing homes, or caring for the small animals that are part of daily life. Every action feels deliberate, calm, and patient, as if time itself moves just a little slower here on this gentle island. As the sun climbs higher, the village settles into the steady cadence of the day. The rice paddies shimmer beneath the golden light, each seedling standing upright in the shallow water, reflecting the soft clouds above. Farmers move through the paddies with careful, rhythmic steps, their feet sinking slightly into the warm mud, a muted squelch accompanying each motion. There is no rush, only a quiet harmony between the people and the land. Occasionally, a heron steps delicately across the water, pausing to glance at the humans nearby before gliding silently away, wings stretching gracefully toward the sky. In the forest that edges the village, elders and children wander together along the narrow trails, gathering roots, leaves, and fragrant herbs. Their hands brush gently over soft moss, over the smooth bark of trees, and along vines that coil lazily in the sunlight filtering through the canopy. The air here carries a different scent than the village, the sweet, damp smell of earth and fallen leaves, mingled with the faint perfume of blooming flowers. Occasionally, the laughter of a child echoes softly, a bright note in the otherwise hushed symphony of the forest. Back in the village, women sit beneath the shade of large trees, weaving baskets and mats with hands that have memorized the gentle patterns over decades. Their fingers move methodically, looping reeds over one another, soft snaps of fiber punctuating the quiet morning. The baskets are sturdy, yet light, perfect for carrying fruits, grains, or small animals from the fields. Sometimes, a bird lands nearby, cocking its head curiously, and the women pause for a moment, smiling at its delicate presence before resuming their work. Meals in the village are simple and calm, prepared with care over small fires. Tubers and roots are roasted slowly until their aromas drift across the homes, mingling with the subtle scent of fresh water and flowering trees. Fish, freshly caught from the river or the sea, is grilled over embers that glow warmly, releasing a gentle smoke that twists upward, disappearing into the bright sky. Families gather quietly around these small meals, sharing not just food but the soft stories of their morning, of plants that bloomed, of fish that swam too quickly to catch, and of tasks accomplished with patience and care. Throughout the day, children wander freely, barefoot on soft earth and sand, discovering treasures tucked into the quiet corners of the village. A smooth stone by the river, a fallen feather from a nearby bird, or a tiny flower hiding under a leaf becomes a source of wonder. Their laughter is soft, almost musical, blending with the rustling of palm leaves, the distant babble of a stream, and the occasional low call of an elder tending to chores. Their play is gentle and imaginative, teaching them about the rhythms of life around them without hurry or noise. Fishermen glide quietly across the calm waters, canoes balanced carefully as nets are lowered into the gentle current. Each motion is deliberate, dipping, lifting, adjusting, always in sync with the soft movements of the waves. Occasionally, a fish is caught, glinting silver in the sun, and is carried carefully back to the village for a shared meal. The ocean seems to hold its breath around them, a reflective, ever-present companion to the slow unfolding of daily life. Near the edges of the village, small gardens thrive under attentive hands. Yams sweet, potatoes, and rice grow alongside leafy greens and small herbs. Water from the nearby streams is carried in clay pots, poured gently over each row of plants, nourishing them steadily. The gardeners move slowly, almost meditatively, aware of every leaf, every bud, every small movement of insect and bird. There is a quiet satisfaction in tending these gardens, a connection to the earth that is soft, patient, and enduring. As afternoon begins to stretch across the island, shadows grow longer, and the light softens into a warm, honeyed glow. Families gather for a pause, resting in the shade of large trees or beneath the cool thatch of their homes. Stories are shared quietly, tales of ancestors who first traveled across the island, of rivers that sang, of mountains that watched silently over the villages. These stories drift gently through the air, carried by low voices, folding history into the calm of the day. By the river, elders demonstrate simple crafts to children. Soft reeds are twisted into mats or baskets. Bark is peeled gently to create string or cloth, and small tools are shaped from wood and stone with careful patience. Each motion is slow, deliberate, almost ceremonial, teaching the young ones the ways of life that have endured for generations. The children watch attentively, their movements following the rhythm of the elders' hands, learning without pressure, learning as if time itself is unhurried and abundant. And as the day begins to soften further toward evening, the ocean and river reflect the shifting sky, catching hues of coral and lavender. The village grows quiet, not because work has ended, but because the light itself encourages calm. Fires are lit gently in small pits, cooking the evening meal. Smoke drifts lazily upward, curling around the homes and fading into the deepening colors of dusk. Animals, chickens, goats, and small dogs settle into the slow cadence of the night, finding warmth and comfort among the humans who care for them. The air is rich with the gentle fragrance of cooked roots, sweet flowers, and the damp earth warmed by the sun. Voices are soft, footsteps measured, and the sounds of water, rivers flowing, waves lapping, small streams trickling, create a quiet symphony in which the village rests. This is life on Madagascar before European ships arrived, measured, calm, deeply connected to the earth, and woven together by generations of careful, patient living. As the sun begins to sink lower in the sky, the light softens into a gentle, amber glow that washes across the village. Shadows stretch lazily across the sand and earth, mingling with the soft swaying of palms and the tall grasses at the village's edge. Fires in the small pits of each home burn steadily, the smoke curling upward in slow, graceful spirals, carrying the rich aroma of roasted roots, freshly caught fish, and herbs gathered from nearby gardens. Families gather near these fires, quietly preparing the evening meal, moving with calm, deliberate motions. The day has slowed now, and even the wind seems to hush, as if mindful of the village's gentle rhythm. Children, now tired from a morning and afternoon filled with play and discovery, settle near their parents. Some lean against their mother's side, listening to soft, low stories of ancestors and the rivers and mountains that have watched over their people for countless generations. Others sit cross-legged by the fires, their eyes reflecting the warm glow as they trace the slow rise and fall of the smoke with their gaze. The elders speak quietly, their voices a measured murmur, telling tales of the seasons, of harvests past, and of gentle lessons learned from the forests, rivers, and ocean. These stories are not urgent or dramatic, but instead lull the listener into a sense of calm and continuity, a feeling of being held by the rhythm of life itself. Near the shoreline, the fishermen who ventured out earlier in the day return quietly. Their canoes glide across the calm waters, moving in sync with the gentle tides. Nets are pulled aboard with soft tugs, each fish laid carefully into baskets for the evening meal. The ocean reflects the shifting sky, now painted with soft purples, pinks, and fading gold, creating a mirror that stretches seamlessly to the horizon. The air carries a mixture of salt, smoke, and the sweet earthiness of the nearby forests, mingling into a scent both calming and grounding. Women finish weaving baskets and mats beneath the shade of broadleaf trees, their hands moving slowly, almost hypnotically, with the rhythm they have perfected over years. Occasionally, they pause to adjust a child or share a quiet word with a neighbor, the movements minimal but meaningful. The finished mats and baskets are carefully set aside, ready for the tasks of tomorrow, each one a quiet testament to patience, skill, and the slow passage of time. Animals settle into the gentle calm of evening. Chickens cluck softly as they find places to roost. Goats nibble calmly on remaining shoots in the gardens, and small dogs curl against the warmth of the village walls. Even the birds in the trees become quieter, their calls softening as the light fades. The sounds of the village are now mostly muted, punctuated only by the soft rustle of leaves, the occasional splash of water from the river, and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures stirring in the forest. Families gather together for their evening meal, the conversation soft, measured, and unhurried. Food is passed quietly, bowls exchanged gently, and the act of eating becomes almost ceremonial, a way to honor both the sustenance of the earth and the connections between people. The taste of roasted roots, lightly seasoned fish, and fresh fruits fills the senses, comforting in its simplicity. Every bite, every sip of water drawn from the clay pot, becomes part of a gentle meditation on the day, a calm rhythm repeated across the generations. As darkness deepens, Lanterns made from clay and leaves, or simple fires shielded by stones, cast a soft, flickering glow over the village paths. Shadows dance slowly on the ground, and the villagers move with quiet care, aware of each other and of the space around them. Tasks continue at a gentler pace. Water is drawn for the night, animals are settled, and small repairs are made to thatched roofs and homes, each action deliberate, unhurried, and calm. In the forest, the wind carries a different kind of music. Leaves rustle softly, branches creak gently, and the faint trill of distant frogs blends with the slow, steady chorus of crickets. Children who remain awake listen with fascination, the natural sounds of the night creating a lullaby more soothing than any song. Some elders step outside their homes to observe the moon rising over the horizon, casting silver reflections across the rivers and fields. In these moments, the village feels suspended in quiet reverence, each heartbeat aligned with the calm pulse of the island itself. By the time the moon reaches its place high in the sky, the village is steeped in tranquility. Fires burn low, smoke rising and dissipating slowly into the night air. Families lie in their woven mats inside the thatched homes, the gentle creaking of wood and the soft whisper of the wind forming a subtle backdrop for sleep. Dreams begin to drift across the village, soft and unhurried, carrying the quiet stories of the day into the minds of children and adults alike. Above, the stars shine clearly in the vast, open sky, mirrored by the calm, reflective waters of the rivers and coastline. The gentle hum of insects and the occasional splash from fish in the shallows accompany the night, a quiet symphony of life that never rushes. The island, the village, and the people all rest in a measured, patient rhythm, one that has persisted for generations long before any outsiders arrived. The night here is not just a pause in activity, but a continuation of calm living, an embrace of the soft, enduring heartbeat of Madagascar itself. And as the village sleeps, the forests and rivers, the gardens and fields, all seem to breathe together, sharing in the quiet of the night. Every sound is soft, every movement deliberate, every moment filled with the gentle rhythm of life. The island's stories, both told and untold, float silently through the darkness, waiting to be noticed by those who pause long enough to listen. As the night deepens, the village rests beneath a sky thick with stars. The fires have long since dwindled to glowing embers, and the air carries the crisp, quiet scent of the night. Every sound is soft and measured, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant ripple of water, the low hum of insects weaving their gentle songs into the dark. The village seems to breathe as one, each home, each tree, each animal, moving with the slow, unhurried rhythm of the island itself. Hours pass, and a subtle change begins to stir along the horizon. A faint blush of pink creeps across the eastern sky, soft and tender, as if the day itself is stretching awake. In the village, a few early risers begin to move quietly, careful not to disturb the calm. A woman adjusts the mats of her sleeping children, brushing back a lock of hair, her movements deliberate, soothing, and gentle. From the small huts, faint sounds of stirring drift, soft footsteps on the sand, a quiet creak of a door, a muted whisper shared between a parent and child. Near the river, a fisherman slides softly into his canoe, the cool water still dark and calm. The paddle dips silently, sending barely a ripple across the glassy surface. Mist hovers above the water, curling slowly in soft ribbons, and the first songbirds begin their delicate chorus. The reflection of the moon lingers in the river, fading gently as the sky shifts from deep indigo to pale lavender. The fisherman glances over the side of his canoe, catching sight of silver scales glinting faintly beneath the surface, a reminder that life moves quietly but endlessly in these waters. In the gardens and fields, dew settles on the leaves, sparkling faintly in the soft morning light. Elders emerge from their homes, bending carefully to tend small plants or check the state of the soil. Hands move with care, brushing earth over seeds, adjusting tiny shoots, or lifting leaves to let the sun reach the tender stems beneath. There is no hurry, only the gentle passage of time and the patient attention of people who understand the slow rhythms of their land. Children wake slowly, stretching and blinking into the dim, early light. Some follow their parents into the fields or to the river's edge, their small bare feet pressing softly into the earth, while others linger near the homes, chasing the faint sparkle of morning dew on the grass or examining a curious shell left by the tides. Laughter is soft, tentative, carrying the lingering warmth of dreams, and each sound blends into the broader, soothing melody of the waking village. Breakfast is prepared with quiet care. Tubers and roots are cooked slowly over small fires, the smoke curling lazily into the still cool morning air. Fresh fish is cleaned and grilled gently, herbs from nearby gardens added with measured hands. The aroma drifts across the village, mingling with the soft scent of damp earth, flowering trees, and salt from the nearby ocean. Families gather, eating together with quiet conversation, sharing the calm of the day's first meal. Along the shoreline, women gather shells and small stones, arranging them carefully for use in small crafts, or trading quietly with one another. Their movements are deliberate, the soft scraping of shells against one another punctuating the otherwise gentle silence. Small birds flit between the rocks and trees, pecking lightly, and sometimes pausing to watch the people with curious heads tilted. The ocean glistens faintly, reflecting the shifting colors of dawn, and the waves lap softly against the sand, a lullaby of water that has continued here for centuries. As the sun rises fully, the village begins its gentle workday. Men carry tools and baskets into the fields, planting, tending, or harvesting with patience and care. Women move slowly between gardens and homes, carrying water, checking on small animals, or weaving simple items that will be useful throughout the day. Children play quietly nearby, sometimes joining the work, learning the steady rhythms of planting, watering, and tending under the watchful guidance of the elders. Evening seems far away, but already the sense of calm is present in every movement, every gesture. Every task is carried out with deliberation, as if the people themselves are in dialogue with the island, its soil, its waters, its forests, and its skies. Each breath, each step, each soft laugh or murmur is part of this larger rhythm, this continuous, patient unfolding of life that has endured for generations before any European ships ever approached these shores. By mid-morning, the village is alive but not hurried. The sounds of water, wind, and wildlife mingle gently with human activity. The air is fragrant with earth and vegetation, warmed by the gentle sun that climbs slowly toward its zenith. The forests sway quietly, the leaves whispering, the occasional bird call threading through the day. Life on Madagascar flows here not as a rush, but as a calm, enduring cadence, like the slow, steady beat of a drum beneath a lullaby, guiding the people, the rivers, and the land itself through the quiet hours as the sun climbs higher toward its peak. The warmth spreads gently across the village, softening shadows and turning the leaves of the palms and tall grasses into glimmering mosaics of green and gold. The air is thick with the subtle fragrance of earth, flowering shrubs, and the faint smoke from cooking fires. Life continues at its slow, deliberate pace. The villagers move with careful attention, each gesture intentional, each task measured, as though the very rhythm of the day itself encourages patience and presence. In the fields, farmers tend the rice paddies and vegetable gardens. Water glimmers across the shallow paddies, reflecting the sky in delicate, moving patterns. Hands carefully place seedlings into the soft mud, gently pressing the soil around each one, ensuring that each plant is secure and nourished. Occasionally, a heron steps cautiously through the water, pausing to dip its beak into the surface, its movements mirrored perfectly by the calm water below. The farmers barely notice the bird. Their minds are wholly present in the subtle pulse of the earth beneath them. Back in the village, women sit beneath broadleaf trees, weaving mats, baskets, and ropes. Their fingers move in quiet, repetitive patterns, looping reeds, twisting fibers, and intertwining strips of bark into objects that are both practical and quietly beautiful. Occasionally, they pause to smile at a passing child or adjust a small item, their motions unhurried, soft, and deliberate. The baskets are stacked carefully nearby, ready for market or for carrying the harvest, each one a testament to skill, patience, and the steady hands of generations. Children wander through the village at their own pace. Some chase after a small lizard darting across the sun-warmed sand. Others gather fallen flowers to make simple decorations, arranging petals into small, careful patterns on flat stones. Their laughter is low, musical, almost blending with the quiet hum of the village itself. They move freely, learning through observation and gentle participation, discovering the rhythms of daily life without pressure or hurry. Along the shoreline, fishermen and women tend nets and small traps, ensuring that their catches are ready for the communal meal later in the day. Canoes rock gently on the calm, turquoise water, the paddles slicing quietly through the surface, sending subtle ripples. Outward, fish move beneath the boats, silver flashes in the dappled sunlight, and occasionally, a small crab scuttles across the sand, leaving delicate trails behind. The ocean seems to breathe with the village, moving in harmony with the rhythm of human life. Near the forest edge, elders teach children about the plants and herbs growing among the trees. Leaves are identified gently, their textures described softly, their scents inhaled and appreciated. Roots are shown for their medicinal uses, and bark for its strength in crafting tools. The children listen attentively, moving their hands slowly to mimic the careful motions of their teachers. The lessons are subtle, unhurried, and intertwined with storytelling. The tales of ancestors, of animals that walked the island long before humans arrived, and of rivers and mountains that still shape life today. Meals in the afternoon are simple, often consisting of freshly roasted roots or small fruits picked from nearby gardens. The aroma is warm and comforting, mingling with the smell of the river and the flowering trees. Families gather in the shade, sharing the food slowly, enjoying the subtle flavors and the quiet presence of one another. Conversation is soft, with stories shared in hushed tones, laughter light and rare, more like a gentle melody than noise. Even the animals follow this measured rhythm. Chickens cluck softly as they peck along the edges of the village. Goats graze patiently in the gardens, and small dogs move slowly, weaving between people, occasionally curling up in patches of sun. The natural world and the village exist together in a seamless dance, each movement, each breath, and each small sound part of the steady cadence of life. As the afternoon wears on, a gentle breeze picks up, rustling the leaves of the palms and grasses, carrying with it the faint scent of the sea. The light softens, casting long, delicate shadows across the village paths. Fires are lit in preparation for evening meals, small puffs of smoke drifting lazily into the air. The villagers slow even further, taking moments to pause, to rest, to observe the subtle movements of the sky, the water, and the animals around them. Quiet festivals or small gatherings might take place in shaded clearings, though not loud or overwhelming. Elders may sing low, rhythmic songs that echo softly through the trees, or children may gather to watch or imitate, their voices barely rising above the whisper of leaves. These moments are not for spectacle, but for connection, a slow, deliberate celebration of the life that surrounds them, the earth that sustains them, and the community that supports them. As the sun tilts westward, the light shifts again, golden and gentle. Shadows stretch across the rice paddies and village paths, the river reflecting the changing sky. Villagers prepare for the evening in measured motions. Animals are led back to small pens, gardens are tidied, fires are lit carefully, and water is drawn for cooking. Every gesture is part of the rhythm of the day, each action carrying the gentle understanding that life is steady, continuous, and calm. By late afternoon, the village seems to hold its breath in the warm, fading light. Children begin to rest beneath trees, leaning against mothers or napping on woven mats, while adults continue their work at a softer pace. The smell of cooking food drifts through the air, mixed with the earthy perfume of soil and the faint saltiness of the nearby ocean. Even the distant waves seem to hush, blending seamlessly into the quiet cadence of life, reminding all who listen that time here flows slowly, deliberately, and with grace. As the sun lowers toward the horizon, the sky over Madagascar transforms into a soft canvas of amber, rose, and gentle lavender. Shadows stretch lazily across the village, blending into the tall grasses, the thatched rooftops, and the winding paths that connect the homes. A warm breeze moves slowly through the palm trees and, flowering shrubs, carrying the scent of earth, salt, and the faint smoke from the small fires that now glow softly in every home. The village seems to exhale, as if acknowledging the transition from day to evening, each movement slowing, each step becoming more deliberate, more measured. Along the shore, fishermen bring in their final nets of the day. Canoes glide with quiet grace across the calm, reflective water. Nets are pulled in gently, and the silver glint of small fish catches the fading sunlight. Each fish is handled with care, placed carefully into baskets to be shared for the evening meal. Occasionally, a small crab scuttles across the sand, pausing to examine the footprints of the humans nearby before retreating into the soft dunes. The gentle rhythm of ocean and tide carries a soothing cadence, a reminder that the world beyond the village moves with the same quiet, steady patience. In the heart of the village, women finish the day's weaving and basket-making. Their fingers move slowly over reeds and bark, adjusting loops and knots with a careful, meditative attention. Baskets are stacked, mats are folded, and the small tools used throughout the day are returned to their resting places. The movement is quiet, almost hypnotic, the repetitive gestures lulling both maker and observer into a shared rhythm of calm. Children gather near the edge of the firelight, soft voices murmuring as they share stories, recounting little adventures from the day. A small boy shows a smooth stone he found by the river. A girl points out a feather that glinted in the sun earlier. Laughter is light and rare, more like a whispering melody than a sound that demands attention. Every movement and word blends seamlessly into the gentle flow of the evening. Families begin preparing the evening meal. Tubers and roots are roasted slowly over embers, filling the air with a warm, comforting aroma. Fresh fish, carefully cleaned, is grilled with herbs and tender leaves from nearby gardens. The smell drifts lazily through the village, mingling with the earthy scent of soil and the faint saltiness from the shore. Meals are shared quietly, often outside on woven mats, with conversations soft and measured, more like the hum of togetherness than any urgency or noise. The animals, too, follow the gentle rhythm of the evening. Chickens settle into their small roosts, clucking softly. Goats nibble slowly on remaining shoots in the gardens, occasionally lifting their heads to watch the humans with quiet curiosity. Small dogs curl up near warm walls or in patches of fading sunlight. Even the insects seem to slow their song, producing a soft, continuous hum that blends with the whisper of the wind and the gentle lap of water along the shore. As the light deepens into a tender twilight, the elders gather beneath the largest trees, their voices low and soothing as they share stories from long ago. Tales of ancestors, of rivers that carried secrets, of mountains that observed the lives of humans silently, float through the village, unhurried, calm, and full of soft wonder. Children listen attentively, some lying on mats, some leaning against their parents, absorbing the rhythm of history without effort, lulled by the measured cadence of speech and the gentle repetition of the elders' hands shaping mats or baskets nearby. The forest at the village edge grows cooler, shadowed, and still. Leaves whisper quietly as a soft evening breeze moves through the branches. The occasional call of a night bird or the distant rustle of a small animal in the underbrush punctuates the otherwise calm soundscape. The air smells of damp earth, fresh herbs, and the faint traces of smoke from fires drifting lazily upward. Every element, human, animal, tree, river, and sky, exists in quiet coexistence, each movement deliberate, unhurried, and deeply connected to the steady heartbeat of the island. As night fully settles, the first stars appear in the wide, open sky above. The moon rises gently, silver and luminous, reflecting in the still waters of the rivers and coastline. Fires burn low, casting a soft flickering glow over the village, illuminating faces and paths with tender light. Families retreat to their mats and huts, lying down together as the quiet of the night envelopes them. Small animals nestling nearby, the soft rustle of feathers, fur, and leaves forming a lullaby as natural and constant as the ocean itself. The rivers and seas carry on their slow, continuous motion. Water laps softly against the shore, the gentle movement mirrored in the calm breathing of the village. Every element of the island, from the tallest palm to the smallest insect, seems to fold into the same gentle rhythm, a slow pulse that has endured for generations before the first outsiders ever glimpsed these shores. The night here is not merely the absence of light. It is a living, breathing part of life itself, a time to rest, to reflect, and to exist in harmony with the world around. And in this quiet, as the villagers drift into sleep, the forest, the fields, and the ocean seem to breathe with them, carrying every story, every moment of the day, into the gentle currents of night. The stars continue to shine, the water continues to move, and the soft hum of life on Madagascar continues without urgency, without rush, and with a patient, enduring grace. Long before the sun begins its slow ascent, the village lies in a blanket of soft darkness, the world hushed under the weight of night. A gentle breeze drifts through the palm trees, rustling their leaves in a low, steady whisper. The faintest glimmer of starlight falls across the river, glinting off the ripples and lending a quiet silver sheen to the water. In the distance, the occasional croak of a frog or rustle of a small nocturnal animal punctuates the stillness, reminders that life on the island never fully sleeps. It simply moves at a slower, quieter pace. A few early risers begin to stir. Their movements are careful, measured, so as not to disturb the peaceful rhythm of the village. A woman steps softly onto the sand outside her hut, carrying a small clay pot of water from the nearby stream. She moves deliberately, listening to the soft sounds around her, the gentle lap of the river, the faint flutter of wings, the whisper of leaves. Each step is quiet, each breath taken slowly, in harmony with the calm of the hour. Near the forest edge, elders rise to tend small gardens and herbs that need careful attention before the heat of the day arrives. Their hands glide over leaves and soil, brushing gently to clear debris or adjust the placement of delicate seedlings. They work without rush, their motions patient, meditative, each gesture carrying the weight of knowledge accumulated over many years. Occasionally, a child follows behind, imitating the motions with slow curiosity, learning not by instruction, but by observation and quiet repetition. Along the river, fishermen push their canoes into the still waters. The paddle dips softly, sending barely a ripple outward. Mist rises in delicate columns from the surface, curling and twisting like faint silver ribbons. The first light of dawn begins to color the horizon in soft pinks and pale purples, and the reflection of the sky shimmers across the river in gentle patterns. Fish move silently beneath the surface, glinting occasionally as they swim, unaware of the slow human presence above. Each motion is deliberate, calm, and in rhythm with the pulse of the water. In the heart of the village, women light small fires to begin preparing breakfast. Tubers and roots are placed carefully onto hot stones or small embers, roasting slowly, releasing a soft, earthy aroma that drifts lazily across the village. The scent mingles with the gentle fragrance of dew-soaked grass and flowering shrubs. Children stir on mats beside their parents, stretching and yawning in quiet anticipation of the day ahead. There is a softness to these early hours, a gentle pause before the village fully awakens, a moment to notice the subtle details of life that often go unseen. The fields begin to take shape in the morning light. Farmers move through the gardens, carrying baskets of seedlings or small tools, their bare feet pressing softly into the warm, damp soil. The rice paddies glimmer in the dawn, each reflection of the sky on the water perfect and still. Hands press gently into the mud, planting, adjusting, nurturing, each movement a quiet conversation with the earth. Birds stir above in the trees, their soft calls threading through the low hum of human activity, adding to the serene harmony of the moment. As the sun rises fully, warming the village with soft golden light, the day begins in earnest, but still at the gentle pace that has carried life here for generations. Women carry water to gardens and fields, tending small plants, adjusting leaves, and watching over the growth of seedlings. Children follow quietly, learning to notice the smallest details, the curve of a leaf, the scent of herbs, the pattern of soil. Men move through the paddies and riverbanks, planting, harvesting, or checking nets, their work deliberate, careful, almost ritualistic in its slow, measured rhythm. Along the shoreline, the ocean catches the first golden rays, reflecting them across the sand and into the village. Small waves lap softly, and the distant cry of a seabird punctuates the quiet, adding to the music of the morning. Canoes glide across the water, nets lowered slowly, each motion purposeful but calm. Fish are gathered carefully, then brought back to the village to be prepared with gentle care, feeding both body and community. By mid-morning, the village hums with quiet activity. Conversations are low and measured, laughter soft, and every gesture deliberate. Life on Madagascar unfolds like a slow, steady song. Planting, weaving, cooking, teaching, gathering, and observing. Nothing is hurried, everything is intentional. The air carries the scents of earth, water, smoke, and flowers, mixing in a way that calms the mind and soothes the senses. Even as the day progresses, there is a softness to everything. Children wander through the fields, occasionally stopping to examine a feather, a stone, or a flower. Animals move in their own measured rhythms, goats nibbling calmly on shoots, chickens pecking gently at the earth, small dogs padding softly beside their human companions. The forests at the village edge rustle quietly, as if acknowledging the presence of life without imposing or intruding. Everywhere, the rhythm of life continues without rush. The river flows steadily, the ocean laps against the shore, leaves flutter in the wind, and the sun climbs in the sky, casting a warm, nurturing light over the land. Life on Madagascar is measured, intentional, and deeply connected to the natural world. A slow, patient dance that has endured for centuries. By midday, the sun hangs high in the sky, its warmth spreading across the island, touching every leaf, stone, and patch of sand with a golden glow. The village moves at a slower, deliberate pace now, shaded in the soft relief of tall palms, broadleaf trees, and the occasional thatched home. Even the air seems heavier with quiet, carrying the mingled scents of soil, flowering plants, river water, and the faint smoke of midday fires. Every sound blends together: birds in the trees, the soft rush of the river, the distant lap of the ocean, and the village hums gently in harmony with the natural world. In the fields, adults continue tending crops, though now the rhythm has slowed even further. Fingers brush over the leaves of rice plants, smoothing soil around seedlings, adjusting small irrigation channels, and removing fallen debris with calm precision. Hands move in careful repetition, a meditation on growth and nurture, each gesture deliberate and considered. The animals share this measured pace. Goats graze softly, chickens wander slowly, and dogs lie in shaded corners, breathing quietly, their forms outlined in dappled sunlight. Near the river, children play in a subdued, unhurried way. Some wade cautiously into the shallow water, letting it lap over their feet, delighting in the feel of the cool currents against warm skin. Others gather small stones, arranging them into patterns on the sand or stacking them carefully near the riverbank. Their laughter is light, rare, blending seamlessly with the natural sounds surrounding them. The forest edges hold their curiosity, and sometimes a quiet bird or small creature passes nearby, unnoticed except by those who choose to observe it gently. In the village, women continue their crafts. Mats, baskets, and woven objects sit beside them, some in progress, others completed. Fingers twist, loop, and tie the fibers with soft, rhythmic motions, almost hypnotic in their repetition. Occasionally, one pauses to adjust a child's posture, to whisper a gentle word, or to admire a finished piece before setting it aside. These small acts, simple yet deliberate, carry the weight of generations of knowledge and tradition, passed from hand to hand, story to story, day by day. Fires burn slowly in small pits or clay ovens, roasting roots and vegetables, cooking freshly caught fish, and simmering small stews from garden herbs. The smell drifts softly through the village, mingling with the warm scent of the earth and the faint tang of the ocean nearby. Families gather quietly around these meals, seated on woven mats or beneath the shade of trees, speaking softly, sharing gentle stories, and tasting the fruits of their calm, steady labor. Every bite, every sip, every shared glance is part of a deliberate rhythm, a slow meditation on the continuity of life, Along the shoreline, fishermen and women continue their work, though now the tide has shifted slightly. Canoes drift lazily across the shallow waters, nets dipping slowly into the calm currents. Fish glint silver beneath the surface, rising occasionally as the nets are drawn up with care. The gentle motion of the ocean seems to mirror the rhythm of human activity, a subtle reminder that life here flows in steady harmony with nature. The waves lap quietly against the sand, carrying a soft, almost musical note that blends into the surrounding stillness. In the forest, elders teach children the quiet arts of survival and observation. Hands point to subtle changes in leaf color, to the delicate scent of herbs, to patterns of soil and stone that indicate water or shelter nearby. The lessons are unhurried, repeated with patience, reinforced through gentle observation rather than instruction. Every leaf touched, every root examined, every stone picked up carries meaning and history. Children learn not only the practical skills, but also the calm patience required to move through the world with awareness and respect. Midday brings a natural pause. Families rest beneath trees, enjoying the soft shade and the faint rustle of leaves overhead. Children lie on mats, their small forms relaxed, eyes tracing the patterns of light and shadow above. Adults close their eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of the sun on their skin and the gentle sway of the trees. The sounds of the river, the forest, and the village combine into a steady, soothing backdrop, a lullaby of daily life that invites both body and mind to slow. The rivers and streams continue their slow, constant motion. Water trickles over smooth stones, bends gently around roots, and carries tiny reflections of clouds and leaves. Occasionally, a small fish glints near the surface, or a bird dips to take a sip before rising again. Every element, the water, the animals, the humans, exists in quiet balance, moving together in a soft, unbroken rhythm. By mid-afternoon, the light softens slightly, filtering through the leaves in long, lazy rays. Shadows lengthen, creating patterns on the sand and earth. Fires are stoked gently to prepare the evening meal, smoke curling in slow spirals toward the sky. Villagers continue their work, but now with an added sense of calm, aware that the day is winding down. Every movement remains deliberate, every sound soft, every action a small, measured contribution to the rhythm of life that has endured on this island for generations. Even as the day continues, the world seems to exhale, settling into a comfortable pace. Children collect small treasures along the riverbank, smooth stones, colorful shells, tiny flowers, and return them to their parents or elders, who acknowledge them with gentle smiles. The animals adjust to the changing light, seeking shade or stretching lazily in the warmth. And everywhere, the air carries the mingled scents of earth, flowers, water, and smoke, a calming mixture that soothes the senses and eases the mind. As the afternoon begins to soften, the sun eases its intensity, casting a warmer, more forgiving light across the island. The air feels gentler now, less heavy, carrying with it a subtle breeze that moves slowly through the palms and tall grasses. Leaves sway lazily, creating a quiet rustling sound that seems to settle into the background of the village's steady rhythm. Shadows lengthen across the earth, stretching from trees, homes, and wandering animals, painting the ground with calm, shifting patterns. In the fields, work continues at an even slower pace. Farmers pause more often now, standing quietly to observe the state of the plants, brushing soil from their hands, or wiping sweat from their brows with woven cloths. The rice paddies reflect the changing sky, the water glowing faintly as clouds drift overhead. Each step through the mud is careful, unhurried, as if the earth itself is inviting gentleness in return. Near the river, children gather in small groups, their play subdued by the warmth of the afternoon. Some sit at the water's edge, trailing fingers through the cool current, watching ripples form and fade. Others arrange stones into careful lines or simple circles, their movements slow and thoughtful. Their voices remain soft, almost whispers, blending seamlessly with the sound of flowing water and the distant call of birds preparing for evening. In the village, the final tasks of the day unfold quietly. Women finish drawing water from the stream, lifting clay pots with steady hands. careful not to spill a drop. Others tidy garden beds, gently straightening leaves or gathering fallen branches for evening fires. Baskets woven earlier in the day are carried into homes or set neatly along walls, ready for tomorrow's use. There is no sense of urgency, only the calm awareness that the day is slowly folding into evening. Along the shoreline, fishermen mend nets beneath the shade of leaning palms. Fingers move methodically through the coarse fibers, repairing small tears with practiced ease. Canoes are pulled farther onto the sand, resting quietly after a day on the water. The ocean, now touched with deeper shades of blue and gold, moves in gentle pulses, waves whispering softly against the shore. The horizon glows faintly, hinting at the sunset to come. As the sun lowers further, the village begins to gather inward. Fires are lit once more, embers glowing gently as roots and fish are prepared for the evening meal. Smoke rises in thin, lazy strands, drifting upward and dissolving into the softening sky. The scent of roasting food mixes with the earthy smell of cooling soil and the faint sweetness of nearby flowers. It is a comforting aroma, familiar and steady, signaling rest and togetherness. Elders settle beneath trees or near doorways, their movements slow and deliberate. Some continue weaving, others simply sit, watching the light change, listening to the village breathe. Children drift closer to their families, tired from the long, gentle day, their bodies heavy with warmth and quiet contentment. They lean against familiar shoulders or stretch out on woven mats, eyes following the slow dance of firelight and shadow. The sky deepens into rich tones of amber, rose, and soft violet. Birds return to their nests, their calls fading into silence one by one. Insects begin their evening chorus, a low, steady hum that fills the spaces left behind by the day. The forest edge grows darker, cooler, alive with subtle movement and sound, yet never overwhelming. Only present, only calm. As the sun finally slips below the horizon, the village is bathed in twilight. Firelight flickers gently, illuminating faces, hands, and paths with a warm, unsteady glow. Conversations quiet further, becoming murmurs, then silence. The ocean reflects the fading light, its surface now a deep, calming blue, broken only by soft ripples and distant reflections of the emerging stars. Night arrives without announcement, settling softly over the island. Families retreat into their homes, laying out mats, adjusting blankets, drawing close together. The air cools slightly, and the breeze carries the clean scent of water and leaves. Outside, the village rests, wrapped in shadow and starlight, held by the steady sounds of insects, wind, and flowing water. The island exhales once more, surrendering fully to the night. Rivers continue their quiet journey to the sea. Trees stand watch beneath the stars. And the people of Madagascar, long before distant ships ever appeared on the horizon, drift gently into sleep, cradled by the land, the ocean, and the slow, enduring rhythm of life itself. As the night settles fully over the island, the village becomes a place of hushed stillness, wrapped in darkness and starlight. The fires that once flickered warmly now glow low, embers pulsing softly like slow, steady breaths. Smoke thins and disappears into the cool night air, leaving behind the clean scent of ash, earth, and leaves dampened by evening dew. The world feels wider now, quieter, as though space itself has expanded to make room for rest. Inside the thatched homes, families lie close together on woven mats. Breathing slows, becoming deeper, more even. The small movements of the day, walking, weaving, paddling, planting, fade from memory, replaced by a gentle heaviness in the body. Children drift into sleep first, their breaths light and rhythmic, dreams forming quietly behind closed eyes. Adults follow soon after, thoughts dissolving into the soft hum of the night. Outside, the village paths are empty. Moonlight spills across the sand and earth, illuminating the curves of footprints left behind earlier in the day. Leaves shimmer faintly as they move with the breeze, their shadows shifting slowly across the ground. The palm trees sway with unhurried grace, creaking softly as if whispering to one another. Nothing demands attention. Everything simply exists. Beyond the village, the forest comes alive in its own gentle way. Night insects sing steadily, their chorus layered and calm, never sharp or overwhelming. Frogs call softly from near the water's edge, each sound echoing briefly before fading back into the darkness. Occasionally, a small animal moves through the undergrowth, rustling leaves, then disappearing again, leaving the forest undisturbed. The river flows on, smooth and dark, reflecting the moon and stars like scattered silver threads. Its movement is constant, patient, never hurried. Water slips over stones, around roots, along familiar bends it has followed for countless generations. The river remembers every season, every village, every quiet night like this one, and continues without pause. Along the shoreline, the ocean breathes slowly. Waves roll in with a soft, measured rhythm, reaching the sand, then retreating again, leaving behind delicate patterns that shimmer faintly in the moonlight. The tide moves as it always has, guided by forces far beyond the village, yet deeply connected to it. The sea carries the same calm that fills the land, rocking the island gently in its vast embrace. High above, the stars stretch across the sky, clear and countless. Constellations drift slowly as the night progresses, marking time without sound. The moon hangs quietly, bathing the island in pale light, touching treetops, rooftops, rivers, and fields alike. Under its glow, everything feels softened, edges blurred, worries dissolved. Hours pass unnoticed. The village sleeps deeply now, held by the steady pulse of the natural world. Breath follows breath. The night unfolds without interruption. Even the wind seems to slow, moving gently through the trees, careful not to disturb the stillness it helps create. And somewhere between waking and dreaming, the island continues exactly as it always has, calm, patient, enduring. Long before maps were drawn, long before distant sails crossed the horizon, this rhythm existed. It asked nothing. It hurried nowhere. It simply flowed, day into night, night into day, again and again. As the night deepens further, the sky begins its slow, almost imperceptible shift toward dawn. Not yet light, not yet morning, just the faint promise of another gentle cycle beginning. But for now, the island rests. The village rests. The land, the water, the people, and the stars all move together in quiet harmony. And you can rest here too, drifting gently with the same slow rhythm, carried by the story, by the breath, by the calm of a world that knows how to move without hurry, letting each moment soften and fade into peaceful sleep. The hours before dawn are the stillest of all. The island seems to pause here, suspended between darkness and light. Fires have faded completely, leaving only cool ash and the memory of warmth. The village rests in complete silence, broken only by the gentle chorus of insects and the distant, steady breathing of the ocean. Even these sounds feel softened, as though they too are half asleep. Inside the homes, dreams drift gently. Minds wander through familiar paths, fields, rivers, forests, woven together with fragments of memory and imagination. Bodies lie heavy and relaxed, wrapped in woven blankets or simple cloth, rising and falling with slow, even breaths. There is no urgency here, no thought of time passing. The night holds everything exactly as it should. Outside, the air grows slightly cooler. Dew settles quietly on leaves, rooftops, and the packed earth of the village paths. Each blade of grass holds a tiny bead of water, catching faint starlight before letting it slip away. The palm leaves glisten softly, unmoving now, as if resting after their long, gentle sway through the day. In the forest, creatures of the night continue their calm routines. A distant owl calls once, then falls silent. Small animals move carefully through the undergrowth, guided by instinct and moonlight. Nothing rushes. Nothing startles. The forest breathes slowly, ancient and patient, carrying the same quiet wisdom it has always known. The river reflects the sky above, its surface smooth and dark. Occasionally, a ripple spreads outward as a fish breaks the surface, then disappears again. The water continues its journey, unbroken and steady, carrying stories from the highlands to the sea. It has done this for longer than memory, longer than names, and it will continue long after this night fades. Along the shore, the tide reaches its quietest point. Waves arrive softly, barely disturbing the sand, then slip back again, leaving only faint traces behind. The ocean feels vast and calm, stretching endlessly beyond the horizon, holding the island gently in its embrace. Somewhere far out, currents shift slowly, guided by the moon and the turning of the world. Above it all, the sky begins its subtle transformation. The stars dim almost imperceptibly, not vanishing, but yielding space. The moon lowers slightly, its light growing softer, more diffuse. There is no clear moment when night begins to loosen its hold, only a gradual easing, a gentle transition that mirrors every other rhythm on the island. Just before dawn, the world feels especially tender. The air is cool and clean. Sounds are sparse, deliberate. A single bird stirs, then settles again. The village remains asleep, cocooned in calm, unaware of the light that will soon return. And here, in this quiet in-between moment, everything feels balanced. The past and future fade away, leaving only the present, soft, slow, and steady. This is how life moved on the island long ago, guided not by clocks or borders, but by light, water, breath, and rest. You can linger here as long as you like, drifting gently in this stillness, letting thoughts dissolve, letting the rhythm of the island carry you, breath by breath, deeper and deeper into calm, as the night slowly, patiently, gives way to rest. As the night loosens its hold just slightly, there is no sudden change, no sharp dividing line between darkness and morning. Instead, the island breathes into a softer shade of night, where shadows thin and the air feels lighter, almost expectant. The sky remains deep and vast, but somewhere beyond sight, the world is quietly turning, preparing for another gentle cycle. The village still sleeps. Roofs of woven grass and palm leaves rest beneath a sky dusted with fading stars. Paths remain empty, their packed earth cool beneath the dew. Every object seems softened by the quiet. Baskets resting where they were placed, tools leaning against walls, canoes waiting patiently along the shore. Nothing moves unless it needs to. Nothing speaks unless it belongs to the night. In one home, an elder stirs slightly, adjusting a blanket, breathing out slowly before settling again. Nearby, a child shifts in sleep, chasing some half-formed dream of water or birds or firelight. These movements are small, almost invisible, yet they are part of the island's pulse, the same pulse that has carried life here for centuries. The forest holds its breath too. Leaves are still, branches barely sway. Even the insects seem to pause between songs, as if listening for something distant and subtle. The soil beneath the trees remains cool and damp, rich with life unseen. Roots stretch deep into the earth, drawing nourishment patiently, steadily, without urgency. Along the riverbanks, mist gathers low over the water. It curls and drifts slowly, touching stones, reeds, and fallen branches before lifting again. The river itself remains calm, its surface smooth, reflecting the dimming stars above. Water slides past quietly, following ancient paths carved long before any village stood nearby. Farther inland, hills rise gently from the land, their shapes softened by darkness. From here, the island feels endless, layered with forests, fields, streams, and hidden clearings. Each place holds its own quiet story, a memory of footsteps, a season of growth, a moment of rest. As time passes, the sky begins its gradual transformation. The deepest blues soften into gentler shades. Stars fade one by one, not disappearing, but yielding space to the approaching light. The moon slips lower, its glow thinning until it becomes just another pale presence among the clouds. The first hint of dawn is not a color, but a feeling, a subtle lifting, a quiet easing of the dark. The air seems to stretch. The silence changes texture. Somewhere, far away, a single bird calls softly, then waits. Another answers, then falls silent again. These sounds are tentative, respectful, as if asking permission for morning to begin. In the village, sleep lingers. Bodies remain heavy, comfortable, wrapped in warmth and calm. The night has done its work, smoothing the edges of thought, easing muscles, quieting minds. Dreams dissolve gently, leaving behind a sense of peace rather than memory. The ocean responds first to the shifting light. Its surface brightens slightly, catching faint reflections along the horizon. Waves continue their slow rhythm, unchanged, unbothered by the passage of time. The sea has seen countless dawns like this one, and it welcomes each with the same patient motion. As the sky lightens further, the shapes of the island become clearer. Tree lines emerge. The curves of hills grow more distinct. Roofs and paths regain definition, though everything remains hushed, wrapped in the softness of early morning. Eventually, someone rises. A quiet step. A door opening just enough to let cool air inside. A breath drawn deeply, filling lungs with the scent of damp earth and leaves. This moment is unhurried. There is no rush to begin. The day will unfold when it is ready. A small fire is lit, carefully, respectfully. Sparks glow briefly before settling into a steady warmth. Smoke rises straight up into the calm air, thin and pale. Water is fetched from the river, its surface disturbed only slightly before returning to stillness. These actions are familiar, practiced, almost ceremonial in their simplicity. The village awakens slowly, not all at once. One home at a time, one breath at a time. Children stretch and yawn, rubbing sleep from their eyes. Elders sit quietly, watching the light strengthen, feeling the coolness fade from the air. The island welcomes them back gently, as it always does. Fields are visited once more. Crops inspected, leaves touched, soil pressed between fingers. The land responds quietly, offering what it can. There is trust here, between people and earth, between effort and patience. By the time the sun finally lifts above the horizon, the island is awake, but still calm. Light spills across the fields and forests, warming the ground, awakening color. Greens deepen, blues brighten. The world exhales, ready for another slow, deliberate day. This rhythm, night into dawn, rest into waking, has shaped life on the island long before outside eyes ever noticed it. Long before names were written down, long before borders existed. It belongs to the land itself, steady and enduring. And as the day begins again, it does so without haste. There will be work and rest and meals shared beneath trees. There will be laughter and silence, movement and stillness. Every moment will find its place, just as it always has. You can remain here as long as you wish, resting in this gentle flow, letting the island's rhythm carry you, without effort, without thought, drifting easily between waking and sleep, supported by the same calm that has held this land for centuries, slow, steady, peaceful, and endlessly kind. As the morning matures, the island settles once more into its familiar, comforting rhythm. The sun climbs slowly, never harsh, warming the land in layers rather than all at once. Light filters through palm fronds and broad leaves, scattering soft patterns across the ground. Each pattern shifts lazily with the breeze, as if time itself has slowed to watch. In the village, the sounds of morning are subtle and reassuring. Wooden tools touch the earth with muted taps. Water pours softly from clay vessels into waiting pots. Bare feet move across packed soil, leaving faint impressions that will fade by midday. Voices remain low, not from necessity, but from habit, a shared understanding that loudness is never required here. Breakfast is simple and nourishing. Steamed roots, grains cooked slowly over embers, fruit gathered fresh from nearby trees. Food is eaten with attention but without hurry, each bite taken calmly, without distraction. Children sit close to their families, still carrying traces of sleep in their expressions, blink. Ing against the growing light. Elders eat quietly, content in the familiar sequence of the day. After the morning meal, people drift naturally toward their tasks. No commands are given. No schedule is spoken aloud. Everyone knows where they are needed, guided by observation and memory rather than instruction. This knowledge lives in the body, passed down through years of watching, listening, and doing. Some walk toward the fields again, tools resting easily across their shoulders. Others head toward the forest edges, baskets in hand, ready to gather leaves, fruits, and medicinal plants. A few move toward the water, checking nets or preparing canoes for a short journey along the coast. Each path is taken calmly, with no sense of urgency. The forest welcomes those who enter it. Sunlight slips through the canopy in soft beams, illuminating patches of moss and fallen leaves. The air here is cool and damp, rich with the scent of soil and growth. Birds flit quietly from branch to branch. Insects hum gently, weaving sound into the background like a steady breath. Those who gather plants do so with care. Leaves are chosen thoughtfully. Roots are dug sparingly. Nothing is taken without awareness. The forest is not a resource to be emptied, but a living presence to be respected. Knowledge of which plants heal, which nourish, and which must be left untouched is held carefully, shared softly between generations. Near the river, the water has warmed slightly under the sun. It flows steadily, unchanged in its patience. People wash tools, rinse vegetables, and cool their hands in its gentle current. Children watch fish dart beneath the surface, their movements quick but graceful. Sometimes a laugh escapes, light and brief, then fades back into the quiet. By late morning, the island feels fully awake, yet never hurried. Work continues at an even pace, punctuated by pauses to rest, to observe, to simply stand and feel the breeze. The sun reaches its height gradually, and with it comes a familiar warmth that encourages stillness as much as activity. Animals settle into shaded areas. Dogs stretch out near doorways. Chickens scratch lazily at the ground, then retreat beneath trees. Goats move slowly, chewing thoughtfully, their bells silent in the heat. Every living thing adjusts naturally, without resistance. As midday approaches again, the cycle prepares to repeat. Rest, nourishment, quiet companionship. The island does not push forward. It circles gently, day folding into day, season into season. This is how life endures here, not through force or speed, but through balance and patience. And as you listen, you can allow yourself to follow the same rhythm, letting thoughts slow, letting the weight of the day drift away, feeling supported by the steady flow of this ancient world where nothing demands, nothing rushes, and everything arrives exactly when it should. You can keep drifting here, suspended in this calm passage of time, where the past breathes softly and rest comes naturally, moment by moment, breath by breath, carried gently onward by the story that as the day continues to unfold. The island seems to exist within its own gentle pocket of time, separate from urgency, untouched by haste. The sun, now steady in the sky, does not glare or press down harshly, but warms patiently, as though it understands the rhythm of the land beneath it. Light spills across hills and valleys, touching every surface with an even, reassuring presence. In the village, the midday rest returns naturally. Mats are unrolled beneath trees. Doorways become places of quiet gathering. The heat invites stillness, and everyone listens. This pause is not an interruption of life, but an essential part of it, a moment to allow the body to soften and the mind to drift. Breathing slows. Shoulders relax. Eyes close or half close, following the subtle movement of leaves above. Elders share quiet stories, not told loudly or dramatically, but offered like gentle memories. These are stories of ancestors, of seasons long past, of times when the river changed its path or the forest grew thicker. They are not meant to instruct or impress, but simply to exist, a soft thread connecting one moment to another. Children lie close by, listening without effort. Some drift in and out of sleep, catching fragments of words that blend easily with dreams. Their world is safe, contained within familiar sounds and faces. The land itself seems to watch over them, steady and unchanging. As the afternoon light begins to soften once again, movement slowly returns. People rise without announcement. Tasks resume gently, as though picked up mid-breath. Tools are gathered. Baskets lifted. The rhythm continues without friction. Farther from the village, life unfolds in quieter, often unseen ways. In forest clearings, medicinal plants are prepared carefully. Leaves are dried in shade. Roots are cleaned and wrapped. Each action is deliberate, guided by knowledge refined over generations. Healing here is not separate from daily life. It is woven into it, understood as a balance between body, land, and spirit. Along the coast, the tide shifts again. Fishermen observe the water closely, reading its subtle signs. They know when to cast nets, when to wait, when to turn back. The sea is not something to be conquered, but something to be listened to. Canoes glide softly across the surface, leaving only brief traces behind. The ocean air carries salt and warmth. mingling with the scent of drying nets and sun-warmed wood. Seabirds circle lazily overhead, their calls faint and distant. Everything feels wide and open here, yet never overwhelming. As the sun lowers toward evening, shadows stretch long once more. The island prepares itself for the familiar transition. Fires are lit again. Food is gathered and shared. The pace slows further, if that is even possible. Evening meals are quiet affairs. People sit close together, sharing food and presents rather than conversation. The fire crackles softly, illuminating hands and faces with a warm, flickering glow. The day is not discussed in detail. There is no need. It has been lived fully, attentively. When the meal ends, dishes are cleaned slowly, without rush. Water is poured carefully. Everything is returned to its place. Order here is not rigid, but respectful. Each object valued, each space cared for. Twilight arrives gently, as it always does. The sky shifts through layers of color, fading from gold to amber to deep blue. Stars begin to appear, one by one, never all at once. The air cools slightly, inviting blankets and closeness. Night sounds awaken again. Insects begin their steady chorus. Frogs call from near the water. The forest breathes deeply. The village settles inward, doors closing softly, bodies finding familiar resting places. As sleep approaches, rituals of calm return. Quiet words are spoken. Hands rest on shoulders. Breathing synchronizes with the slow rhythm of the night. There is comfort in repetition, peace in knowing what comes next. Dreams form gently here. They are shaped by the land, by water, trees, animals, firelight. Dreams are not separate from waking life, but an extension of it, another place where stories continue. Beyond the village, the island remains awake in its own way. Rivers flow, tides shift, stars will slowly overhead. Time moves, but without pressure. Seasons, too, pass in this way. Rainy months arrive with soft persistence, feeding fields and forests. Dry months bring clarity and warmth. Each season is welcomed, adapted to, understood. Life bends without breaking. Over generations, the island changes slowly. Paths deepen, trees grow and fall, villages shift and reform. Yet the core rhythm remains intact, a way of living shaped by listening rather than control. Long before maps name this place, long before ships appear on distant horizons, this life exists fully, complete in itself, balanced and whole. And as you rest within this story, you are invited to move at the same pace, to release urgency, to let thoughts drift like clouds across a wide sky, to allow rest to come without effort. You do not need to remember every word. You do not need to follow every image. Simply let the rhythm carry you, like water carries leaves, like wind carries seeds. The island remains here, steady, patient, breathing slowly, and so can you. Breath by breath, moment by moment, drifting deeper into calm, held gently by the quiet continuity of a world that knows how to move without hurry and how to rest without fear. And so the story continues, softly, endlessly, just as the island itself always has. The night receives everything without question. After the evening settles fully, there is a sense that the island has folded inward, like a woven mat carefully rolled at the end of the day. The air cools again, becoming crisp and clean, carrying the faint scent of salt from the sea and damp leaves from the forest floor. Each breath feels slower now, deeper, as if the world itself is breathing alongside you. Inside the homes, the quiet deepens. The soft rustle of woven fibers shifts as someone turns in sleep. A child exhales in a long, even sigh. An elder's breathing becomes steady and rhythmic, each breath rising and falling like a gentle tide. The walls, made from earth and plant fibers, hold warmth from the day and release it slowly through the night. Outside, the paths glow faintly under starlight. Dew gathers again, silently, returning moisture to the soil. The stars overhead seem especially close on nights like this, scattered generously across the sky. Without lamps or distant lights, the darkness feels complete but never heavy. It is a darkness filled with life, with quiet motion, with continuity. The forest speaks in low tones. Leaves whisper when the breeze passes through. Somewhere deep within, a branch creaks softly as it settles. The ground beneath remains cool and supportive, layered with fallen leaves, roots, and the memory of countless seasons. Near the river, the mist returns, rising gently from the water's surface. It drifts lazily, reshaping itself again and again, never staying long in one form. The river flows on, unchanged by the sleeping village, unchanged by the passing hours. It does not hurry toward the sea. It simply follows the path it has always known. Along the shore, the ocean continues its quiet conversation with the land. Waves arrive and retreat with perfect patience. The sound is soft, consistent, almost hypnotic. It carries far inland on the night air, a steady reassurance that something vast and enduring is always nearby. This is how nights have passed here for generations beyond counting. No clocks mark the hours. No voices announce the time. The night unfolds at its own pace, guided by stars, moon, and the slow turning of the world. And in this long, unbroken stillness, the mind begins to loosen its grip. Thoughts become less distinct. Edges blur. Memories drift in and out, unanchored, unimportant. What remains is sensation, warmth, breath, stillness, the feeling of being held by something larger and calmer. As the night moves on, the sky subtly shifts again. The deepest dark softens just slightly, though dawn is still far away. The island remains wrapped in rest, suspended in a space where nothing is required and nothing is missing. Even the land seems to sleep, its hills and valleys resting beneath the sky. Fields lie quiet, seeds tucked safely beneath soil, waiting without impatience. Trees stand rooted and still, conserving energy, trusting the cycle that has never failed them. Somewhere, far off, a bird stirs and then settles again. A sound rises briefly, then fades. The night accepts it and continues, unbroken. And you can remain here too. There is no need to follow the story closely now. No need to imagine clearly or remember details. The rhythm is enough. The tone is enough. Let the words wash over you like water, present but effortless. If your thoughts wander, let them. If they dissolve entirely, that is welcome too. The island does not ask for attention. It only offers calm. Breathing becomes slower still. Muscles soften. The space between moments stretches gently, like the pause between waves. The deepest part of the night is not marked by silence, but by a gentler kind of sound. It is the sound of continuity. The island exists fully here, in this quiet middle space, where nothing is beginning and nothing is ending. Everything simply is. The sky above Madagascar holds steady, wide, and endless. Stars shimmer faintly, not sharp or bright, but softened by distance and time. They have watched over this land for longer than memory, longer than stories passed from mouth to mouth. They watch now without judgment, without expectation, as they always have. Below them, the island rests in layers. The highest hills are dark silhouettes against the sky, their slopes covered in forest and grass that cannot be seen clearly, but are deeply felt. Valleys lie between them, cradling rivers and villages, holding warmth from the day and releasing it slowly into the night. In the village, sleep deepens. Breathing becomes slower, heavier, more even. The small movements of dreaming bodies settle into stillness. Hands relax, jaws unclench, shoulders drop. The body remembers how to rest when nothing demands attention. Dreams here are not loud or frantic. They drift softly, shaped by familiar landscapes. A river appears, calm and reflective. A path through tall grass unfolds gently beneath bare feet. Firelight flickers without heat or urgency. Dream are not stories to follow, but sensations to float within. Outside the homes, the night air moves gently. It brushes across rooftops and along paths, carrying the faint sounds of water and leaves. The breeze never rushes. It touches, then moves on, leaving everything undisturbed. The forest remains awake in its own quiet way. Roots draw moisture from the soil. Leaves exchange breath with the air. Insects continue their steady rhythms, not calling attention to themselves, simply maintaining the balance of sound that fills the dark. Life continues without spectacle. Near the river, the mist thickens slightly, then thins again. It drifts like a slow thought, forming and dissolving without effort. The water beneath it remains constant, flowing gently over smooth stones worn down by time rather than force. Each stone has its own history, shaped by countless seasons of rain and sun. Each bend in the river remembers where it has been, not as memory, but as form. The river does not need to recall the past. It carries it naturally, in its curves and currents. Along the shoreline, the ocean stretches outward, vast and calm. Its surface rises and falls with the tide, guided by forces invisible and ancient. The sea does not hurry toward tomorrow. It moves exactly as it should, neither resisting nor pushing forward. Somewhere beyond the horizon, currents shift slowly. Far below the surface, life moves quietly, following patterns older than land itself. The ocean holds all of this without effort, without noise. Back on land, the village remains wrapped in rest. Even the structures seem to sleep, walls cooling, roofs settling, doorways standing quietly in shadow. Tools lie where they were placed, waiting patiently for hands that will return to them in time. Time itself feels different here. It stretches, it softens. Without markers or measurements, moments flow together seamlessly. There is no sense of waiting, no sense of delay, only presence. This is how nights have always passed on the island. Not counted, not measured, simply experienced. A long, gentle passage that carries life from one day into the next without disturbance. As the hours move forward, the sky begins its slow, almost imperceptible shift once again. The stars dim slightly, not disappearing, but easing back. The darkness thins just enough to suggest change, though nothing stirs yet. The air cools a little more. Dew gathers again, forming silently on leaves and grass. Each droplet reflects a fragment of sky, a tiny world of light held briefly before returning to the earth. In the forest, a few creatures begin to settle deeper into rest. Movement slow. Sounds become less frequent. The night folds inward once more, protecting what remains asleep. The river continues without pause. It does not notice the changing sky. It does not adjust its pace. It flows because flowing is what it does. And in this constancy, there is comfort. The mind, when allowed to rest here, begins to let go of edges. Thoughts blur and soften. Words lose their sharpness. Images dissolve into feelings, warmth, safety, ease. Breathing aligns with the quiet rhythm of the land. Inhale, exhale, each breath deeper than the last. Each pause between breaths longer, more spacious. The body grows heavy, supported fully by whatever holds it. Bed, chair, floor. There is no need to move, no need to adjust. Gravity does the work. The island remains steady beneath everything, unchanged by individual moments of waking or sleeping. It has held countless nights like this one. It will hold countless more. Gradually, the night reaches its later hours. Not suddenly, but gently. The darkness becomes lighter, thinner, like fabric worn soft by time. Still no rush. Still no sound of awakening. In the distance, a bird shifts on a branch, then grows still again. The sound is brief, almost imagined. The night absorbs it completely. Is how nights have always passed on the island. Not counted, not measured, simply experienced. A long, gentle passage that carries life from one day into the next without disturbance. As the hours move forward, the sky begins its slow, almost imperceptible shift once again. The stars dim slightly, not disappearing, but easing back. The darkness thins just enough to suggest change, though nothing stirs yet. The air cools a little more. Dew gathers again, forming silently on leaves and grass. Each droplet reflects a fragment of sky, a tiny world of light held briefly before returning to the earth. In the forest, a few creatures begin to settle deeper into rest. Movement slow. Sounds become less frequent. The night folds inward once more, protecting what remains asleep. The river continues without pause. It does not notice the changing sky. It does not adjust its pace. It flows because flowing is what it does. And in this constancy, there is comfort. The mind, when allowed to rest here, begins to let go of edges. Thoughts blur and soften. Words lose their sharpness. Images dissolve into feelings, warmth, safety, ease. Breathing aligns with the quiet rhythm of the land. Inhale, exhale, each breath deeper than the last. Each pause between breaths longer, more spacious. The body grows heavy, supported fully by whatever holds it. Bed, chair, floor. There is no need to move, no need to adjust. Gravity does the work. The island remains steady beneath everything, unchanged by individual moments of waking or sleeping. It has held countless nights like this one. It will hold countless more. Gradually, the night reaches its later hours. Not suddenly, but gently. The darkness becomes lighter, thinner, like fabric worn soft by time. Still no rush. Still no sound of awakening. In the distance, a bird shifts on a branch, then grows still again. The sound is brief, almost imagined. The night absorbs it completely. The quiet deepens again, not as a change, but as a continuation, like a long breath that never quite finishes. The island remains suspended in its gentle rhythm, and time feels less like a line and more like a wide, slow-moving river, carrying everything without effort. The sky continues its gradual lightening, though darkness still holds most of the space. Colors do not appear yet, only subtle shifts in tone. The air feels cool and smooth against the skin, carrying the faint mineral scent of stone and water. Nothing stirs with intention. Everything moves only when it needs to. In the village, the shapes of homes and trees rest quietly in shadow. The woven walls hold the memory of warmth, releasing it slowly, evenly. Inside, sleep remains deep and unbroken. Bodies are heavy, grounded, aligned with the earth beneath them. Dreams thin and stretch, becoming less like stories and more like sensations. Warmth, motion, familiarity. Somewhere nearby, a rooster shifts on its perch but does not call. It tucks its head closer, waiting. The timing matters, and instinct knows when to remain still. The night has not yet finished offering its rest. Beyond the village, the land unfolds gently in all directions. Forests stretch outward, layered and patient. The trees stand rooted, their canopies barely moving now. Leaves hold droplets of dew that gather and release slowly, falling soundlessly to the ground below. Each drop sinks into the soil, returning moisture to roots and seeds waiting quietly beneath the surface. The earth itself feels alive in this hour, not active, not busy, but present. Soil breathes. Stones cool. The land listens. Near the river, the water continues its steady passage. It slides past reeds and stones with the same calm persistence it has always known. The surface reflects the dim sky, smooth and dark, broken only by the occasional ripple that fades as quickly as it forms. The river does not announce itself. It simply continues. Along the banks, plants lean slightly toward the water, their leaves heavy with dew. Insects rest on stems and grasses, still and quiet, gathering energy for the day that will come later. Everything here exists in a state of readiness without anticipation. Farther downstream, where the river widens, the water slows even more. It spreads gently, pooling and drifting, giving itself time. The land around it curves naturally, shaped by years of patient movement. No sharp edges remain. Everything has been softened by repetition. The ocean beyond waits as well. Waves continue their slow approach and retreat, unbothered by darkness or light. The tide shifts subtly, guided by forces far beyond sight. The sea does not need rest, yet it carries a calm that feels like rest itself. Above it all, the sky continues its quiet transformation. The deepest blues soften further, though stars still linger faintly. They dim gradually, not vanishing, but receding, as if making room. The transition is so slow it can barely be noticed. The island holds this moment gently. Nothing interrupts it. Nothing rushes it forward. In the village, a few sleepers turn slightly, adjusting blankets or shifting positions, then settling again. Breathing remains slow and steady. Hearts beat evenly. The body knows this hour is for rest, and it responds without question. The quiet here is not empty. It is full of continuity, full of presence. Every sound that does exist fits perfectly within it. A distant insect call, the soft brush of air through leaves, the low, steady hush of water moving through the land. Time passes without being counted. Minutes and hours blur together, losing distinction. The night stretches comfortably, like a long, unbroken path with no markers, no signs, no destination. The land remembers nights like this. It has held them through generations, through countless cycles of growth and rest. Long before names were given to places, before stories were shaped into words, this rhythm existed. It still does. As the darkness thins further, the first suggestion of color begins to form near the horizon. Not brightness, just a faint softening, a gentle lift. The air changes almost imperceptibly, becoming slightly lighter, slightly clearer. Still, the village remains asleep. No one stirs to greet the coming light. There is no need. The morning will arrive whether it is watched or not. The forest begins to shift subtly. A few birds adjust their positions, feathers rustling quietly. A branch settles with a soft creak. Somewhere deeper within, life prepares itself slowly, without urgency. The river reflects the changing sky now, its surface catching a hint of pale gray where darkness once dominated. The water continues its path, unchanged in pace, unconcerned with the sky above it. The ocean responds too, its surface lightening just enough to suggest distance and depth. Waves remain gentle, arriving and retreating with the same calm consistency. The island breathes again, slow and even. In the village, the shapes of trees and homes become slightly clearer. Edges emerge softly, without sharpness. Paths remain empty. Tools remain where they were left, waiting patiently for hands that will return when the time feels right. The air carries the faintest scent of morning. Cool earth, damp leaves, water. It is clean and grounding, inviting without demanding. Somewhere, a single bird calls softly. The sound is tentative, brief. It does not echo. It simply exists, then fades back into the quiet. The night accepts it without resistance. More light gathers slowly. The sky remains muted, calm, never bright. The transition feels like waking from a deep sleep, gradual, gentle, unforced. Inside the homes, dreams thin further. Sleep becomes lighter, though still present. Bodies remain relaxed. Breathing remains slow. The moment of waking has not yet arrived. The island allows this space to stretch, honoring the pause between rest and movement. Nothing pushes forward. Nothing pushes forward. Nothing pulls back. Fields lie quiet, soil cool beneath the surface. Seeds rest where they were planted, unchanged by the passing night, yet nourished by it. Dew clings to leaves and stems, feeding the plants without sound. Trees stand steady, their roots deep and secure. They do not rush toward the light. They receive it when it arrives. The forest canopy begins to shift in tone, greens emerging slowly from shadow. Still, everything remains hushed. The river carries on, smooth and patient. The ocean breathes. The village sleeps. And the story continues in this way. Soft, steady, unbroken, moving not toward an ending, but simply forward, moment by moment, breath by breath, held gently within the calm rhythm of the island. The light continues to gather in the sky, not as an arrival, but as a quiet presence that grows without asking to be noticed. It spreads gently, touching the edges of clouds, softening the darkness rather than replacing it. The island accepts this change without response, just as it has countless times before. The air feels different now, still cool, but lighter, carrying the faint promise of warmth that will come later. Dew remains settled on leaves and grass, each droplet holding a small reflection of the sky above. When a breeze passes through, just barely, some of the droplets fall, disappearing into the soil below without sound. In the village, the outlines of homes become clearer. The woven textures of walls and roofs emerge from shadow, their patterns visible again, familiar and grounding. Paths curve gently between them, shaped by years of footsteps, now resting, waiting. Inside, sleepers remain wrapped in rest. The body knows when to rise, and that moment has not yet arrived. Muscles stay loose. Hands remain open. Breathing continues its slow, steady rhythm, unbroken. A child shifts slightly, then stills again. A blanket slips just a little, then settles. These movements are small, instinctive, part of the quiet. Conversation between body and earth. Beyond the village, the forest begins its own gradual awakening. Birds stir more frequently now, adjusting their wings, testing the air. Still, no chorus begins. Each sound waits its turn, respecting the softness of the hour. Leaves catch the growing light, their surfaces glowing faintly. The forest floor remains dark and cool, layered with fallen leaves and rich soil. Roots hold firmly below, drawing nourishment upward, preparing without haste. The river reflects the changing sky more clearly now. Its surface shifts from deep shadow to muted silver, then back again as clouds pass overhead. Water flows steadily, tracing the same path it always has, carving and smoothing the land with infinite patience. Near the banks, plants lean gently toward the water, their stems relaxed. Insects remain still, clinging to grasses and reeds, waiting for warmth to return fully. Everything exists in a state of quiet readiness. Along the coast, the ocean responds to the light in subtle ways. The horizon becomes more defined. The surface of the water shows faint texture, ripples catching and releasing light as waves move in their familiar rhythm. The sound of the sea remains soft, constant, reassuring. Time continues to stretch here. There is no urgency in the approach of morning. The island allows the transition to unfold at its own pace, honoring the space between darkness and day. In the village, an elder stirs slightly, sitting up just enough to listen. The sounds of early morning, water, leaves, distant birds, arrive gently, without demand. After a moment, the elder settles again, content to rest a little longer. The sky lightens further. Colors begin to form. Soft grays, pale blues, hints of warmth near the horizon. The stars fade quietly, yielding space without resistance. The moon lowers, its presence thinning until it blends into the brightening sky. Still, the island remains calm. Nothing begins all at once. Life here does not surge forward. It unfolds. Fields remain quiet, crops standing still in the cool air. Leaves hold their shape, waiting for sunlight to warm them. The soil beneath remains dark and rich, alive with unseen movement. Trees stand tall and rooted, their branches reaching outward without tension. Birds perch among them, watching, listening, waiting. The river continues, unchanged. The ocean breathes. The village rests. And the story flows onward in this way, steady, gentle, uninterrupted, carried by light, by breath, by the quiet persistence of a world that moves without hurry, offering rest in every moment it unfolds. The light strengthens slowly, though it never arrives in a harsh or demanding way. It moves across the land as a gentle veil, softening shadows, caressing leaves, and tracing the contours of the hills and valleys. Every tree, every stone, every path seems to accept the illumination quietly, as though it has been waiting for this gradual warmth all along. The air carries a delicate stillness, the kind that only exists in the quietest hours between night and full morning. In the village, the roofs of woven grass and palm leaves catch faint beams of light, their textures revealed slowly, each strip and layer forming subtle patterns. Paths bend and curve, still empty, still resting after the passage of yesterday. Tools and baskets remain where they were left, their positions unchanged, ready for the hands that will return to them without urgency. Inside the homes, sleepers shift slightly, though sleep remains deep and unbroken. The body softens into the support beneath it, breathing slow and even. Fingers relax, shoulders drop, and minds drift further into rest. Some dream lightly, their imaginations weaving familiar sights of rivers, forests, and gentle waves, while others rest without dreaming at all, cradled by the rhythm of the island itself. Beyond the village, the forest continues its calm awakening. Branches sway gently with the faintest movements of air. Leaves tilt and settle, dew sliding softly to the ground. A few birds adjust their feathers, testing the air, wings flicking lightly, but their calls have not yet begun. The forest waits with the same patience as the sleeping village, neither rushing nor hesitant. The river mirrors these changes. Its surface reflects the growing light, shimmering faintly without motion. Ripples form as water glides over stones, over roots, over bends that have existed for countless seasons. The river's path remains steady, unchanged by the time of day or the presence of humans. It flows because that is its nature, carrying the quiet history of the land with every gentle movement. Along the riverbank, plants shift imperceptibly toward the water. Stems bend slightly under the weight of dew. Flowers remain closed, petals still soft and muted, waiting for the sun to release them. Insects cling to leaves and grasses, still gathering warmth from the night's lingering cool, conserving energy for the slow movement of day. Along the coastline, the ocean shifts imperceptibly as well. Waves rise and fall with the steady rhythm they have maintained for millennia. Their sounds are constant and low, a slow, breathing pulse that stretches into the distance, meeting the horizon without rush or effort. The tide continues its subtle motion, guided by the moon, the earth, and forces unseen, all in perfect balance. The hills and valleys of the island hold their shapes in this soft light, gentle shadows stretching across contours. Rocks, trees, and soil all blend into a quiet harmony. No movement is needed. Each element exists fully within its own rhythm, and together, they form the steady pulse that carries the day. In the village, life remains hushed. There is no need to begin, no need to call out. No one stirs yet to announce the day. Even as the light grows, everything is still, wrapped in calm. The roofs, walls, paths, and fields all breathe slowly with the land. The animals of the village respond with the same gentle awareness. Chickens shift slightly, but do not crow. Goats lift their heads, then settle again. Dogs stretch and sigh, their bodies heavy with rest. Even the small creatures hidden among plants and stones adjust minimally, conserving energy, following the quiet pulse of the environment. The sky overhead continues its soft gradient, from deep muted blue toward pale gray, hints of gold appearing near the horizon. The stars fade almost imperceptibly, leaving traces of memory that slowly dissolve. The moon recedes, leaving only the calm light of approaching morning. Everywhere, the island seems to inhale and then exhale in slow, deliberate rhythm. The river flows, the ocean breathes, the forest shifts imperceptibly, the village sleeps. Nothing demands attention, nothing presses forward. The world moves entirely in balance with itself. And as you rest here, you are carried with it. Thoughts dissolve, edges blur, and the mind drifts alongside the river's motion, the tide's pulse, and the gentle sway of trees. There is no urgency, no requirement, only presence, only calm. Time here feels expansive, almost infinite. Each moment stretches, every breath deepens, and every movement, however slight, reminds the body and mind that nothing must be forced. The day will arrive exactly as it should. The sun will rise fully when it is ready, and yet for now, everything rests in this soft, endless in-between. Even in the forest, the smallest actions carry a slow deliberateness. A leaf drops to the forest floor, curling gently before settling. A branch leans slightly under its own weight, adjusting minutely. Insects move, but almost imperceptibly, each motion precise yet calm. Life here does not rush, yet it does not pause. It simply continues. Along the river, the water slides over stones, smoothing their edges, carrying small leaves or blossoms that have fallen from the banks. A fish moves beneath the surface, then vanishes again into shadow. Each ripple is subtle, carrying the history of countless nights and days, moving gently without need for recognition. The coastline remains quiet. Waves roll in with steady consistency. The air carries their faint scent, mingling with the earthy aroma of wet sand and coastal vegetation. Small shells, smoothed by water, lie along the edges of tide lines, reflecting a faint gleam of light. Everything here is layered, intertwined, and calm. The village waits for no one. It continues to exist in stillness, houses and roofs holding the warmth of yesterday, paths resting in the cool touch of dew, animals and people alike in quiet pause. Every stone, every plant, every ripple of water joins in the same patient rhythm. Breathing matches this pace. Slowly, evenly, deeply. Inhale, exhale. Every breath draws the body further into the calm, settling the mind, softening thoughts. Muscles release tension. Eyes close, half close, or simply rest. The rhythm of the island continues, unchanging, yet ever present. The forest, the river, the ocean, the village, all move together without need for notice. Time is measured not by hours, but by the gentle passing of moments, each carrying the weightless continuity of life. You are held within this rhythm. There is no need to follow every detail. No need to hold images or thoughts tightly. The calm carries you, fully, completely. Every word, every pause, every motion described merges with the natural pulse of the world. Even the air seems to move with intention, yet without pressure. A soft breeze brushes the forest canopy, rustles leaves along the riverbank, moves faintly across rooftops and fields. It is part of the rhythm, not separate from it, not demanding attention, merely present. And as the light grows imperceptibly brighter, so does the awareness of space. Shadows fade slowly. Patterns of leaves and rooftops, of rocks and river edges, become more visible, but nothing emerges abruptly. Everything transitions, everything unfolds at its own pace. The river continues to carry water silently. The ocean breathes steadily. The forest remains both motionless and alive. The village sleeps. The island exists. And you drift with it, breathing, feeling, being, held. The rhythm is endless. The story carries forward, unbroken. The calm persists. Every moment flows seamlessly into the next. Every pause is measured. Every sound, whether from water, wind, leaves, or distant animals, is part of the same gentle pattern. This world does not hurry. It does not worry. It simply exists. And in its presence, you rest. The light continues to stretch across the island, soft and patient, spilling into every nook and curve of the landscape. It slides along the tops of palm trees, brushing gently against their fronds, highlighting the delicate textures of each leaf. The shadows lengthen and shift slowly, moving across the ground without sound, folding into the shapes of rocks, houses, and pathways. Everything remains still, yet fully alive, absorbing the warmth of the day gradually, without urgency. The village remains quiet, wrapped in the lingering softness of night. Doors and shutters remain closed, holding the cool air inside, while smoke from the previous evening's fire drifts faintly into the sky, disappearing into the stillness. Clay pots and woven baskets rest where they were left, their surfaces warmed slightly by the earliest light, each object existing in patient silence. Inside the homes, sleepers remain wrapped in rest, bodies supported fully by the earth beneath them. The rise and fall of chests is slow, rhythmic, in harmony with the land around them. A hand shifts slightly, a shoulder relaxes further, and breath deepens. In some minds, dreams drift like feathers on a current, glimpses of rivers, forests, or gentle waves merging with the subconscious, leaving no mark but a sense of calm. The forest outside the village begins its quiet awakening, but it does so without urgency. Leaves shift slightly as the air brushes past them. A few birds adjust their feathers or hop lightly from branch to branch, their movements careful, measured. Insects begin their soft, patient hum, a background note that threads through the quiet without ever demanding attention. The soil underfoot remains cool and rich, filled with the invisible movement of roots and earthworms, the slow processes of growth continuing unnoticed. Along the river, the water moves steadily, smooth and unbroken. Tiny ripples form where pebbles meet the current, then disappear almost immediately. The river reflects the pale light of the sky above, its surface calm, unhurried, carrying countless small leaves, seeds, and other tiny remnants of the forest downstream, each one following the current without resistance. The riverbanks remain lush, lined with plants that lean slightly toward the water, their leaves glistening faintly with dew. Insects cling to stems and grasses, resting before the warmth of the day reaches them fully. Some frogs shift slightly but remain hidden, conserving energy. Life here moves without haste, in a pattern that has been rehearsed and perfected over generations. Along the coast, the ocean maintains its endless rhythm. Waves arrive with quiet persistence, rising and falling without drama. The tide moves slowly, brushing against the sand and leaving faint traces that vanish almost immediately. Seashells lie scattered along the shore, their curves smooth and sun-warmed from days past. The scent of salt and damp earth drifts inland, mixing with the gentle aroma of vegetation and warm soil. The hills and valleys of the island remain calm under the softening light. Trees stand tall and rooted, their branches stretching gently without tension. Grasses sway slightly with the breeze, brushing against one another softly. Stones and rocks rest in place, smooth from centuries of wind, water, and sun. Everything exists in patient balance. Inside the village, small movements begin to appear. One sleeper stretches lightly, slowly rising, careful not to disturb the quiet. Another adjusts a blanket. Hands move with intention, but without rush. The day has not yet fully arrived, and yet life begins its gentle transition from sleep to wakefulness. Birdsong starts softly, tentative at first. A single note here, a cautious trill there. The forest listens and responds in kind, the sounds layering gradually into a quiet symphony. Even these calls are subdued, respectful of the lingering calm that still blankets the island. The river continues, carrying water with the same patient motion it has always held. Small fish glide beneath the surface, undisturbed by the waking sounds above. Water slips over stones and roots, smoothing them imperceptibly with each passing moment. Along the ocean, the tide moves with gentle consistency. Waves ripple softly, brushing the sand and retreating without sound. The horizon stretches outward endlessly, unchanging, patient, holding the edge of the world with quiet dignity. In the fields surrounding the village, crops remain still. Leaves and stems catch the soft light, shimmering faintly. Dew drips slowly to the soil, nourishing roots in silence. Seeds lie buried, absorbing moisture and slowly preparing to sprout, continuing the cycle that has carried this land through countless seasons. The village itself remains largely at rest, though the faintest movements indicate the first stirrings of morning. Tools are lifted carefully, baskets are adjusted, and hands touch familiar surfaces with deliberate gentleness. There is no rush. Every motion is measured, precise, and patient. The air itself seems to breathe, moving through trees, along paths, over rooftops, and across fields. It is cool, but warming gradually with the soft light. Its movement is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it connects every part of the island together in a slow, living rhythm. Animals awaken slowly as well. Chickens stretch, cluck softly, and wander with measured steps. Dogs yawn and stretch, then settle again briefly. Goats shift on their hooves, chewing thoughtfully before beginning to move through fields or along paths. Even the smallest creatures, hidden in soil, trees, or under rocks, begin their own gentle rhythms as light spreads across the land. The sky overhead softens further, hues deepening into muted pastels, lightening from deep indigo toward gray, a delicate promise of the sun's arrival. Clouds shift slowly, almost imperceptibly, drawing delicate shapes across the horizon. The first faint warmth of day touches the island without urgency, without pressure, like a hand brushing across the skin. In the village, the first meals of the day are prepared. Not hurried, not noisy, but deliberate. Water is poured into clay pots. Roots and grains are gathered and placed near the fire. Fires smolder quietly, smoke rising slowly into the still morning air. Food is prepared and shared gently, with care, without rush. Each movement is precise, unhurried, aligned with the rhythm of the land. The forest continues its awakening. Birds call softly, then pause. Insects hum quietly, their wings catching the faint light. Leaves shift gently in response to a passing breeze. Roots settle into the soil. Everything exists in harmonious balance. Along the river, the water continues to flow smoothly, slipping past stones and around reeds. A fish glides beneath the surface, vanishing into shadow again. The rhythm of the water is constant, unchanged by the movements of the land above. The ocean mirrors this calm. Waves rise and fall steadily, brushing sand along the shore, retreating quietly. Seabirds circle lazily, calling faintly, yet the sound blends seamlessly into the vastness of the sea. The horizon remains distant, unbroken, infinite, and the island breathes. Always. Slowly. Evenly. Constantly. The day stretches before it without beginning or end. Each movement, each breath, each sound continues seamlessly, forming a calm pattern that has persisted for generations. And as you rest here, as you listen, as your mind and body drift with this rhythm, you are carried by it. You do not need to act. You do not need to follow every detail. You simply exist within the pulse of this world, held and supported by its slow, patient movement. The rhythm continues, steady, unbroken, infinite, breath by breath, moment by moment. River, ocean, forest, village, all flowing together, and you drift with it endlessly, calm, held, resting in this gentle, quiet, eternal rhythm. The morning settles deeper, though it does so slowly, almost imperceptibly, stretching across the island with a patience that has endured for centuries. The light grows steadily, diffused and gentle, tracing soft shapes along the tops of the hills and across the rivers and fields. Shadows stretch and bend, lengthening from the trees and homes, yet they do not dominate. They blend into the land naturally, soft and welcoming. The air feels calm, clean, and expansive, carrying hints of water, earth, and foliage, inviting the body to relax further, letting the senses notice without strain. In the village, activity is present but subdued. A child shifts slightly, turning to stretch an arm beneath a blanket, the movement small, careful, measured. An elder adjusts a mat, rising just enough to feel the warmth of the morning air on their skin, then settles again. Even the faintest sounds are soft, a rustle of cloth, the quiet shift of a foot against packed earth. Each motion is deliberate, patient, and harmonious with the rhythm of the island. The forest beyond the village edges stirs more fully. Leaves catch the light, revealing layers of green softened by dew. Birds begin to call tentatively, single notes that echo faintly before fading. Branches sway subtly with the lightest movement of air. Insects hum quietly, weaving their soft vibrations into the backdrop of the waking world. Every creature, every plant, every element moves without hurry, as though participating in a conversation that does not require words. The river mirrors this calm motion. Its waters glide smoothly over rocks, slipping past reeds and fallen leaves with continuity that has been maintained for countless seasons. Small fish navigate beneath the surface, their movements gentle and precise. Each ripple fades quickly, leaving the water's surface almost perfectly reflective. The river does not need recognition, only movement. It carries history, nourishment, and continuity, weaving past and present into a current that never stops. Along the riverbanks, the plants respond to light and water with gentle imperceptibility. Grass blades rise slightly, catching morning dew. Flowers tilt toward the light, their petals still closed or partially open, waiting. Trees stand rooted and expansive, their canopies catching faint sunlight and holding it without urgency. Roots burrow deep beneath the soil, drawing nourishment from the earth in a quiet, deliberate way. Along the coast, the ocean responds similarly. Waves roll in softly, rising and falling without rush. Their movement is rhythmic, consistent, patient. The tide adjusts minutely, brushing the sand and then retreating. Seashells lie scattered across the shore, polished and smooth, reflecting a faint glimmer of the muted morning light. The smell of salt mingles with warmth from the earth, carrying the scent of life that has existed for generations. The hills and valleys of the island unfold beneath the light. Contours are softened by distance and atmosphere, colors muted and harmonious. Rocks, trees, soil, and grass form a living tapestry of quiet motion, each element balanced against the other. Nothing here moves without purpose, and yet nothing moves too quickly. Every stone, every stem, every branch exists in patient continuity. The village remains largely still, though quiet preparations for the day begin. Hands lift baskets carefully, checking their contents. Clay pots are arranged near fires, smoke drifting up in thin, deliberate wisps. Food is gathered in measured, mindful movements. No one rushes. There is no sense of urgency. Each action is deliberate, precise, and part of the rhythm of the land itself. The animals begin to stir gently. Chickens shift and peck softly at the ground, moving slowly from place to place. Dogs stretch, yawn, and settle briefly before continuing. Goats wander across fields, chewing thoughtfully, their bells chiming faintly without disturbing the overall quiet. Even small insects and creatures hidden among stones and roots adjust their positions subtly, waiting for warmth, for energy, for their own place in the gradual unfolding of the day. The sky above continues to transition. The deep blues of night lighten to softer grays and muted pastels near the horizon. The first hints of gold and warmth appear faintly, stretching across the edges of the clouds. The stars fade slowly, leaving behind a sense of infinite space, a calm expanse that seems to hold everything gently in place. The moon recedes quietly, blending into the lightening sky, its presence now a soft memory rather than a defining glow. Even in the fields surrounding the village, life moves with patience. Leaves of crops sway softly in the breeze. Dew drips slowly to the soil. Seeds beneath the ground draw moisture and nourishment with complete attention to the rhythm of growth. Every element, visible or unseen, continues its work without awareness of the day or of those observing it. Breathing in this space aligns naturally with the rhythms of the island. Each inhale deepens without force. Each exhale releases without hesitation. The body becomes heavier, softer, sinking further into support. Muscles relax completely. The mind lets go, drifting with the gentle motion of river, forest, ocean, and village. The river continues its flow, steady and unchanging. Tiny ripples form as water passes over stones or roots, then smooth again into reflective glass. Leaves float briefly, caught in the current, and then glide silently out of sight. Fish move beneath the surface with ease, unaware of the slow light changing overhead. The ocean maintains its rhythm. Waves continue to rise and fall, brushing sand along the shore. Their voices are soft and constant, blending with the subtle hum of the island. Tide and wind carry a faint, continuous presence that is both grounding and expansive. The forest carries on as well. Birds call and pause. Leaves sway softly. Insects hum. Roots shift minutely in the soil. The earth itself seems to breathe, moving beneath the surface in imperceptible currents. Life continues without thought, without effort, in perfect harmony with all that surrounds it. The village gradually becomes more aware of the day. Movements increase, but gently, deliberately. The first meals are prepared. Clay pots are filled with water. Fires smolder softly. Tools are handled with care. Every action respects the quiet that has remained for so long. The rhythm of the island is continuous. The river flows. The ocean breathes. The forest lives. The village moves in gentle harmony with these larger forces. And you, listening, drift within it all, carried forward by the same slow, constant pulse. Breath by breath, moment by moment, you are held. Every sound, every movement, every pause blends seamlessly into the background of calm. The body softens, the mind drifts, and aware. Ness floats along with the gentle unfolding of life. Even the smallest details are full of quiet wonder. Dew collects on the edges of leaves and falls with barely audible grace. Branches adjust under the weight of water or wind. Tiny insects shift imperceptibly, performing tasks essential to the ecosystem, yet entirely gentle in their execution. Every moment is observed without notice. Every motion aligns naturally with the rhythms of the island. As the morning progresses, the air warms slightly. Sunlight reaches more of the forest floor and the edges of the village paths. The river reflects this light, shifting subtly with every small ripple. Waves along the coast catch the soft glow, revealing their curves before blending back into the vast horizon. The rhythm continues. There is no beginning or end, only presence. The forest, river, ocean, village, and land exist in a unified cycle of calm motion. And you exist with them, breathing with their rhythm, moving with their pace, resting in their continuity. Everything unfolds slowly, naturally, deliberately. Nothing forces itself forward. Nothing demands attention. Every sound, movement, and light change is gentle, patient, and quiet. The village prepares for the day gradually. People move with awareness, not urgency. Clay pots are shifted, fire embers stirred, baskets filled. Each action is deliberate, part of the seamless motion of life. There is no rush, no sudden movement, no noise that breaks the calm. The forest continues its soft dance with the morning light. Branches sway slightly, leaves shimmer, insects move subtly. Birds call occasionally, faintly, respecting the ongoing quiet. Roots shift beneath the soil. Life exists in harmony, flowing naturally without interruption. The light continues to spread softly across the island, illuminating hills and valleys with gentle persistence. Shadows stretch and soften, moving slowly with the rising warmth, touching rocks, leaves, and paths without distinction. The air carries the faint scent of damp earth, salt from the nearby ocean, and the subtle aroma of foliage, weaving a quiet comfort that drifts into every corner of the body. In the village, movements remain deliberate and calm. A mat is adjusted, a basket shifted slightly. Clay pots are examined, water poured slowly, then returned to their resting place. Each motion is intentional yet unhurried, flowing with the rhythm of the land rather than opposing it. The villagers rise gently, their bodies stretching and releasing the night's rest with measured care. Outside, the forest continues to awaken gradually. Leaves shimmer faintly in the soft light, dew collecting and falling in imperceptible drips. Birds lift their wings in tentative shifts, calling softly, each note fading into the quiet rather than piercing it. The forest floor remains cool and shaded, a mosaic of earth, roots, and fallen leaves, alive yet patient in its movement. The river carries on as it always has. Water slides over stones, tracing the bends of the land, flowing with patient consistency. Small fish dart beneath the surface, their movements quick yet unhurried, merging seamlessly with the river's gentle pulse. Leaves, seeds, and tiny blossoms drift along the current, following its path without resistance. Along the banks, plants tilt toward the water as if in acknowledgement, leaves glistening with dew. Roots burrow deep into the soil, drawing nourishment steadily, quietly, without fanfare. The air is filled with the faint hum of insects, the soft rustle of leaves, and the distant murmur of water. Along the coastline, the tide rises slowly, brushing against sand and shells. Waves move in constant rhythm, neither rushed nor slow, curling onto the shore before retreating in a smooth, unbroken cycle. Seashells lie scattered, their curves catching hints of pale sunlight. The salt-laden breeze drifts across the land, carrying warmth and a sense of continuity. The hills and valleys remain serene. Trees stand rooted, their branches stretching outward without tension, leaves catching light with muted glimmer. Grasses bend slightly to the gentle touch of air. Rocks and soil maintain their form, shaped over centuries, unchanged yet deeply alive. The village awakens fully now, but quietly. People move with intention. Baskets are filled, fires stoked, food prepared. The rhythm is slow and precise. Each action aligns naturally with the world, as if the island itself guides their movements. Hands touch familiar surfaces. Feet tread softly on packed earth. Breath aligns with the gentle pulse of life around them. Animals rise gradually. Chickens stretch and wander, pecking softly at the ground. Goats shift and chew, exploring paths between the village and fields. Dogs yawn, stretch, and settle again. Even insects and small creatures hidden in grass, soil, or leaves begin to stir, participating in the day's gentle unfolding. The sky overhead deepens in color, moving from muted pastels to soft, pale blues, blending seamlessly with the light reflected from clouds. The sun has not yet emerged fully but spreads warmth evenly, touching every surface without glare. The moon fades entirely, leaving only the quiet vastness of the day's beginning. In the fields surrounding the village, crops sway lightly with the breeze. Dew collects on leaves, dripping slowly into the soil. Roots and seeds continue their quiet work underground. Each element of life participates in the rhythm without notice, without effort, simply being in perfect harmony. The river reflects the subtle changes in light. Its surface moves with infinite patience. Each ripple is a soft, transient mark, disappearing almost as soon as it forms. Fish glide below. Frogs and other small creatures shift and rest along the banks. The water is constant, steady, a moving reminder of the world's quiet persistence. Along the ocean, the rhythm remains unchanged. Waves roll in with gentle consistency, brushing the sand and retreating in unbroken motion. The tide rises and falls with patient precision. Seabirds circle above, their calls soft, blending with the sounds of water and wind. The horizon remains infinite, distant, and steady, holding all that exists in its calm expanse. The forest continues its slow awakening. Branches sway faintly. Leaves rustle in minimal friction. Roots shift beneath the soil imperceptibly. Birds call occasionally, softly, and insects add their low hum. Everything moves together, subtly, a harmony of life that has persisted for generations. The village carries on in alignment with this rhythm. Meals are prepared. Hands work slowly and carefully. Animals are tended with patience. Every motion exists within the pulse of the island. There is no rush. Every sound blends into the background. Every movement aligns with the larger world. The air itself seems to breathe. A subtle breeze flows through the village, across the fields, over the river, brushing the forest and coastline. It moves without force, connecting every part of the island. It is the quiet thread that ties together river, ocean, forest, and human life. The day continues to unfold gently. Sunlight spreads more fully across the landscape, warming the land in small increments. The river glimmers faintly as it reflects the light. The ocean's surface shimmers subtly. Leaves on trees shift softly in the breeze. Grass blades bend, then straighten. Life moves forward in deliberate continuity, endlessly, without hurry. Breathing in this space aligns naturally. Each inhale deepens without effort. Each exhale releases tension gently. The body sinks further into support. The mind drifts further into calm. Thoughts slow, dissolve, and merge with the rhythm of the world. The river flows. The ocean breathes. The forest shifts. The village moves. You drift with it. Each detail is soft, each motion gentle. Even the smallest occurrences, the fall of dew from a leaf, a ripple along the riverbank, a faint call from a distant bird, becomes part of the same calm pattern. Nothing distracts. Nothing interrupts. The rhythm carries all life together in quiet balance. The village continues its morning routines in slow, deliberate fashion. Food is prepared. Water is drawn. Baskets are lifted and set down with care. Tools are arranged. Each movement aligns perfectly with the pace of the land, the rhythm of the river, the pulse of the forest, and the flow of the tide. Animals move through their day with the same gentle attention. Chickens wander slowly, pecking here and there. Goats graze methodically, chewing quietly. Dogs stretch, observe, then settle back. Every creature participates in the rhythm, moving in harmony with the environment, neither hurried nor hesitant. The forest remains alive, subtly, without tension. Leaves shift with the breeze. Branches sway lightly. Roots absorb moisture and nutrients from the soil. Birds lift wings, call softly, then pause. Insects hum low, their sounds blending into the subtle symphony of the island. The river continues its patient journey, carrying water, leaves, seeds, and life. Its flow remains smooth, unbroken, steady. Small ripples form and vanish, reflecting the light and motion above. Fish glide beneath the surface, oblivious to time, existing only within the continuity of the water. The ocean continues its rhythm. Waves rise and fall. Tide brushes the sand, then retreats. The horizon stretches infinitely, unchanging, calm. The sky reflects soft hues that deepen slowly as the sun climbs higher. Clouds drift lazily, forming shapes without urgency. The island breathes as one living entity. River, ocean, forest, village, and field all move together in a slow, harmonious pulse. Nothing forces itself forward. Nothing interrupts. Every detail contributes to the whole. And now, as the day begins to fold into evening, the island sighs softly, as though it is settling into rest once more. The light fades gradually, brushing the tops of hills and treetops with warm, muted gold before yielding to a soft, deepening blue. Shadows stretch and mingle, gentle and long, until every corner of the land rests under the quiet embrace of dusk. The village slows. Movements become minimal, deliberate. Children curl in their mats, hands tucked beneath heads, bodies rising and falling with soft, steady breaths. Elders lean back, eyes closing, trusting the rhythm of the evening. Tools are set aside. Fires smolder low, glowing faintly, their warmth shared without effort. The air carries the delicate scent of wood smoke and earth, mingling with the gentle sound of the river moving steadily through its bends. The forest softens with the fading light. Leaves hang still. Branches sway only when the gentlest breeze passes. Birds nestle into hidden branches, feathers settling around them in quiet protection. The subtle hum of insects threads through the air, nearly imperceptible, like a lullaby woven into the fabric of the night. The river continues, calm and unhurried, reflecting the fading colors of the sky. Ripples pass lightly over smooth stones, water flowing endlessly toward distant horizons. Leaves drift slowly, carried without effort, disappearing gently around bends. Fish rest beneath the surface. Everything slows, yielding to the quiet inevitability of night. Along the coast, the ocean moves with the same patient rhythm. Waves rise and fall softly, brushing sand and retreating with steady cadence. The tide whispers along the shore, gentle and consistent, carrying the memory of the day and the promise of tomorrow. Seashells glimmer faintly in the last light, still, serene. The island itself breathes. Hills, valleys, forests, rivers, and seas, all fold into a unified, gentle pulse. The air cools, wrapping the land and its people in calm. The scent of earth and water lingers, carrying a quiet peace. Time no longer feels measured. Moments stretch, flowing together seamlessly, each one holding you in the warmth of being present. And you, drifting alongside it all, feel the same peace. Your body is supported. Your mind is quiet. Every breath carries the calm of the river, the rhythm of the ocean, the slow sway of the forest, the quiet presence of the village. You exist here with them, floating effortlessly, carried without need, without thought, fully cradled in the gentle pulse of life. The stars begin to appear, soft and distant, scattered across the deepening sky. They do not shine sharply but glow with a quiet patience, watching over the land without demand. The first hints of night fall like a soft blanket, tucking in every tree, every stone, every home. And in this moment, you are held fully by the story, by the island, by the gentle flow of time. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to know. Only rest, only breath, only the slow, steady rhythm that has carried the land for countless nights. Let the river, the ocean, the forest, and the village carry you gently. Let the quiet of the island seep into your body and mind. Allow your thoughts to soften, your muscles to relax completely, your awareness to drift like a leaf upon the water. Everything is as it should be. Everything is calm. Everything is safe. And now, as the night deepens fully, you may rest completely. Sleep arrives not with force, but with gentle inevitability, carrying you further into dreams, into peace, into the endless, tender rhythm of this world. Good night.